Hello everybody. Today we are going to discuss about the groundwater hydrology. There is a 30% part of fresh water which is there in the form of the groundwater. So 30% of the fresh water is in the form of groundwater. That's why this groundwater hydrology is very important. Now when we study the groundwater hydrology, we will start from the very basic terminologies and basic concepts. So this is the land surface that you can see here. Now just below this land surface there are the two parts. The first part is zone of aeration, and second part is this one, which is zone of saturation, or we can say the groundwater zone. Now before going towards the groundwater zone, we will discuss all the terminologies or different parts of the even saturated zone in detail. But saturated zone is nothing but the zone which is all the pores from this particular zone are filled with the water, we can say, and that's why we can call it as a saturated zone. Now, the top layer of this saturated zone is called as water table. This line represents that the depth of the groundwater table. So this is the top surface of the saturated zone, and we can call it as groundwater table or simply water table. And the second part is zone of aeration. Now in this zone of aeration, again there are three parts: soil water zone, intermediate zone, and capillary fringe. In case of soil water zone, this soil water zone is very close to the land surface. This soil water zone, generally whatever the vegetative growth is there, so that for basically to grow the roots, the soil water zone is very important. And most of the water generally comes out of the soil water zone in the form of evapotranspiration. That second zone is intermediate zone, which starts from the soil water zone and comes up to the here capillary fringe. So in between the soil water zone and capillary fringe, this particular zone is called as intermediate zone. This capillary fringe, basically whatever the water is there, which is generally held in the form of capillary action, and this zone starts from this water table, which is the top surface of the saturated zone, up to the where the capillary can rise, so or we can say up to the intermediate zone. So this is the capillary fringe. So this is all about the classification of the surface subsurface of the water. Now we will discuss in detail about the saturated zone, or that is nothing but the groundwater zone. And we can actually this is also called as unconfined. So now we will discuss all the terminologies which are related to the groundwater zone. So with the help of this figure, we will discuss about the saturated zone in detail. Now if you see this figure, basically this is all about the confined and unconfined aquifers, and it has a connection with the saturated zone. So in the previous figure the water table was shown. So this is the water table line, actually you can see here, and so below this is saturated zone. Now as I told you that there is a connection of this confined aquifer and unconfined aquifer to this saturated zone, because as you can observe here, there is a different wells. So this one, first, second, this third one. So these are the different wells which are driven into this ground, and this is the ground surface. Now we will discuss each terminology. Basically what is meant by aquifer? So there is a confined aquifer, there is unconfined aquifer, but what is meant by aquifer? So basically aquifer is nothing but it is the strata which can store the water, as well as it can transmit the water as well. And whatever the storage of water is there is basically depends on two things. One is how much is the recharge in that particular for that particular aquifer, and second is how much extraction is there from that aquifer. Now coming to the types, so there are the two types: confined aquifer and unconfined aquifer. So this unconfined aquifer is basically the top surface is pervious, and bottom surface is impervious. Okay, so this is a bedrock and this is also the bedrock. So the base layer or the bottom portion is impervious and the top one is pervious, so this is called as unconfined aquifer. Second is confined aquifer. So this one is the confined aquifer, in which it is confined between two impervious layer. So this is a rock, so in between these two rocks it is confined, that's why it is called as confined aquifer. Now we will discuss about the wells which are driven into the confined aquifer and unconfined aquifer. So this is unconfined aquifer. Now in this unconfined aquifer, if we just dig any well, so this is a well driven into this particular unconfined aquifer. Now this is the water table, so from which we can have the idea that this much of the water level would be there in this unconfined aquifer, or water will rise up to this level. So because if we pump out the water, so again this level of the water would be this much. So it is called a static water level, and that occur in case of unconfined aquifer only. Whereas there is another example that we can take for the confined aquifer. So in confined aquifer there are two wells, this is one and this is second one. So in the first case that you can see from the top surface up to the confined aquifer, it means that the depth of that particular river is up to the confined aquifer. So water level is up to here. So here you can see why it is up to here, because it is called, this is called as piezometric surface. Actually there is a pressure, because the pressure created in between as it is confined between two rocks, that's why there is a more pressure, and that this is a piezometric surface. So this is the imaginary line, so which because it has pressure more than atmospheric, so here it has atmospheric pressure only, so it represents the static level only. And in this case actually water level may rise up to this point, it is piezometric surface. Actually there is another example for the same case, that is for the confined aquifer. So this is another river. So in this river, here you can see this piezometric level is above surface, because the surface is like this is a slopey surface, and this piezometric surface is above this ground surface. So what happens when you dig any kind of river, if the any kind of well, so well is driven in such a surface where the piezometric surface is high than the ground surface, then water will flow from that river, from that well. So here you can observe that there are the few locations, okay, so where we observe such a wells, that without any pump the well will flow, because it has a piezometric surface higher than the ground surface. And these such a situations occurs in case of confined this well which is taken in case of confined aquifer only. So and piezometric surface is higher than the ground surface. So from this wells we have observed, we have got few concepts. Okay, there are the few more terminologies. Here you can see this is a water table, and the recharge for the confined aquifer may takes place from this place, because there is no any other surface which is open through which recharge may occur. So this is the surface through which recharge would occur in case of confined aquifer. For this case, this is a upper confining bed, this is a lower confining bed as I discussed. And here in case of unconfined aquifer, actually it is getting a opportunity through this entire surface from where recharge may occur. Now as all these terminologies we have discussed, there is the spring or the seeps that that is mentioned, because apart from this confined aquifer and unconfined aquifer, there are few more terminologies, so that we will discuss one by one. So the first example, another apart from the aquifer, few other terminologies are there. So the first one is the aquitard. So in case of aquitard, here you can observe, so aquitard is basically quite different from the aquifer. So or we can say in confined or unconfined aquifer we do observe aquitard as well. So this aquitard is the formation which is basically in which seepage occurs. So because of which there is less significant yield is there. So yield is less as compared to the aquifer in case of this aquitard. So example can be the sandy clay. So sandy clay can be the example of this aquitard. There is another term called as aquiclude. So aquiclude is different from aquitard. In case of aquitard, first let us understand from the example only. The clay can be the example. So it is a geological formation in which water is stored, but it cannot flow, and it is stored as because of the porosity only. So this is called as aquiclude, in which flow of water does not occur. The next uh, point is, and which is related to the aquifer only, that is aquifuse. So this aquifuse is also different from aquiclude or aquitard. In this case, in case of aquifuse, the next one is aquifuse. So in case of aquifuse, basically actually when water is stored in the rock, which doesn't has any kind of fracture. So whatever the water is stored in that particular rock which doesn't have any fracture is called as aquifuse. So that kind of geological formation is called as aquifuse. So these are the few related terms to this aquifer, but only through the aquifer only we can get sufficient amount of yield, sufficient of water which is stored, because it can store water as well as it can transmit the water. So this is all about the aquifer or the groundwater basic terms. Next session we will discuss about the properties of the aquifer in detail. Thank you.